Second aspect of during the interview behaviors you want to think about is the greeting with that person, the person that you'll be interviewing with. Because what you want to do in this whole aspect of interviewing is you want to find a balance. On one side of the equation you have the idea of being too passive. And a passive person doesn't necessarily create the kind of impression that employers want. They don't want passive employees. The other end of the spectrum is what we call aggressive behaviors. And aggressive behaviors are probably too far over the top. What you want is a balance, this thing in the middle called assertiveness. And assertiveness comes out and manifests itself throughout the entire interview. And one of the ways it manifests itself is in the greeting. So when you're sitting there waiting for that employer to come up, if you let that employer come up to you and basically tower over you while you're waiting for this, while we're greeting this person, that shows this kind of the impression of passivity, and that's probably not what you want. The converse of this is also equally bad. If when the employer comes in, you go striding to them and basically not even let them get to the door before you're greeting them, probably shows a little too much aggression in this process. So find a midpoint. Find something between the two things. And when the person comes to interview you, stand, close the distance a little bit to show them that you're taking some of the responsibility in greeting them. But don't close all the distance, and don't allow them to close all the distance. Find that assertive middle point. The next set of behaviors is what happens in the interview room when you go into the interview room. More often than not, the employer will open the door and invite you to enter the room first. But for heaven's sakes, don't sit down. A lot of people who are going through this interview process make an assumption they should be sitting behind the desk or they should be sitting behind a table or whatever. Until you're invited to sit, don't sit. Just stand and acknowledge the room and smile. And then once the employer tells you, please have a seat, then sit down wherever they tell you to. But don't just assume that you're home and you can make yourself at home and do whatever you please. This is a formal business setting. The interviewer has control. Allow them to take control. Allow them to conduct the interview as they see fit. Sit where it's appropriate.